The first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita holds a central importance and is quite peculiar compared to the rest of the text. It opens with a query from Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kauravas. And he is an interested party. It's a very partisan query. He wants to know what is happening on the battlefield. He implores Sanjay to tell him of the proceedings at Kurukshetra. Lore has it that Sanjay was blessed with a special kind of sight through which he could see what was happening on the battlefield that was geographically at a fair distance from where Dhritarashtra was seated. But that thing is of no importance. It does not matter whether Sanjay had divine vision or he was simply being communicated the news through some normal kind of communication arrangement. Dhritarashtra does not have eyes, and that is significant. The query is coming from someone who cannot both literally and metaphorically see. So he queries Sanjay. Tell me, Sanjay, assembled at Dharmkshetra, Kurukshetra, all ready to fight, what did my people and the Pandavas do? So Kurukshetra, it's obvious from the way the question is framed, was already a renowned place, a place of religious significance. And that's where the two armies have congregated. And what happens next is for Sanjay to relay. And Sanjay, without beating about the bush, very directly proceeds to communicate the status at the battlefield. And he says, Duryodhan, seeing the Pandavas arrayed in a battle formation, approaches the teacher Drona and says, So it's Duryodhan who is told to be going to Drona, and what is it that Duryodhan says? Duryodhan says, "Look, Acharya, look, O teacher, look at the great army of the Pandavas, the sons of Pandu, and arranged together by the son of Drupad, who is your blessed disciple." So, it's a strange kind of dialogue. The armies are all ready to have a go at each other, and Duryodhan in this moment goes to Drona and says, look at the enemy, look at their mighty army. And the two persons he names are both students of Drona. He's talking of the Pandavas, specifically Arjun, and he's talking of Drishtadyumna. So he says, see, look at their might. Now it is no coincidence that the two who have been named and the one these two have been named to are in a special relationship. It is almost as if he is taunting the teacher. Look how indiscreet you have been. The ones you taught are now ready to kill you. And factually what Duryodhan is saying is right, but it is indeed unwise of him to say that at this moment. That tells us of the climate on the Kaurav side. The various people are all standing together, the warriors, the fighters, but there is hardly anything really strong and central uniting them. They are all there because of miscellaneous reasons, rather compulsions. So Bhishma is there because he has his vow to keep. The 100 brothers are there because the eldest among them has ordered them to. Dronacharya, Kripacharya, they belong to the court. Their loyalty was inexorably tied to the state. So again they have to be present. Karna is not there on the battlefield at this moment, but his reasons are entirely different. He is there to repay an old debt. On the contrary, the ones standing on the Pandav side are all more or less united by a common central theme. And Krishna stands for that centrality. The name of that centrality is Dharma. We have been wronged. The wrong must be corrected, righted. So here we are. So this kind of disarray and confusion is not evidenced on the Pandav side. We must not just read what has been mentioned, we must also see what is significant by its absence. So there is a psychic strife being mentioned on the Kaurav side, and that kind of a strife is not being mentioned on the Pandav side. That absence is significant. And that absence is the very nature of Dharma. Dharma is not a special presence of something extraordinary. It is the absence of a lot of things that plague the normal, the ordinary mind. The ordinary mind is beset with suspicion, strife, greed, jealousy, fear, illusion. You don't find that on the side of Dharma. On the side of Dharma, there is just silence. On the side of normality, which is mostly adharma, you have several arguments in several directions. Whereas on the side of dharma, even if there is to be an argument, the argument is just one. Stay here, do what is needed, for that is dharma. So when Arjun starts going astray, that is the only argument that Krishna has. Though that argument is presented in the course of the Bhagavad Gita in hundreds of forms, but whatsoever is being said, ultimately the argument is just this: be here, do the needful, for that is what you must do. So, signs of disquiet, unrest, self-doubt are evident on the Kaurav side right in the beginning, and then we see more of it. It is both interesting and very peculiar. Why would the crown prince want to do this? See what he is doing. He is telling Drona, look at the Pandav side. Look at those mighty archers. Look at them, the equals in battle of Bhim and Arjun, the mighty Yuyudhan, Virat, Drupad, the valiant Drishtaketu, Chekitan, the Lord of Kashi, the best of fighters, Purujit, Kunti Bhoj, Shavya. See, behold, the powerful Yudhamanyu. Look at the brave Uttamaja, Saubhadra. Look at all the sons of Draupadi, Draupadeyah, Saubhadra. And so many of those great warriors are there on that side. Look at them. Drone, my teacher, why would somebody do that? Is Duryodhan out of his senses? Is this a state of some kind of disorder? Is he delirious, unhinged? What is he doing? Drone is the foremost warrior on the Kaurav side. And he has been the teacher of both Kauravas and Pandavas, not without reason. He is far more experienced than Duryodhan is. He knows the names of all the warriors on both the sides. Why does Duryodhan need to tell him? There is only one reason this can happen. Duryodhan has just lost it. He is afraid. Even though his army is significantly bigger than that of the Pandavas, yet there is a deep fear. He is trembling. And this fear is making him utter nonsense. At a moment when composure is needed, he is simply letting his confusion spill over to a very important asset of his side. And then he says, just telling you the names of the warriors on that side does not suffice. Just for your information, just to augment your knowledge, now I'll proceed to narrate you the names of the warriors on our side. And Drona must be wondering, why exactly is this needed? In fact, I already know the names of more warriors than Duryodhan can recite. What is he doing? And one can visualize Drona giving a strange look to Duryodhan. But Duryodhan is lost. Even open and direct words are unlikely to have an impact on him. Krishna addressed him very squarely and Duryodhan didn't heed. In this moment, it's unlikely that subtle non-verbal communication can have any effect on Duryodhan. So here are our best soldiers, and I'll narrate their names to you. Of course, the first name is your own, and Drona must have said thank you. Thank you for reminding me that I stand on your side and I am a foremost warrior. So yourself and Bhishma and Karna and Krip, all victorious in war, and Ashwathama and Vikarna and Jayadratha, the son of Somdat. And Drona must be wondering, should I add a few more to his list just to pull him out of his fear? And many other heroes as well, all highly skillful and armed with various kinds of weapons. They are here, determined to die for my sake, not determined to win for my sake, not determined to kill for my sake, but determined to die for my sake. And Duryodhan is no mean fighter. He justifies his reputation in the last battle, in the mace battle with Bhim. He is himself a top fighter, and yet he is greatly perturbed. That's what happens when you represent adharma. You won't even know why you are so disturbed, so unsure, so unseated. Why do you feel wrong-footed all the time? Logic will be with you. Logic will be on your side. The numbers will be on your side. You'll have a whole range of arguments to support and justify your position, and yet something within you would be just very unsure of itself. In spite of all the factual evidence available, you would be sensing an impending doom. You will look at the material stuff you have, you will look at all the evidence available, and you will feel you are a winner and you will be a winner. And just at that moment, you will find another crack developing within, and you will not know why. It would in fact make you furious at yourself. You will say, but why should I not be sure? Why should I be trembling? All is okay, all has been arranged, managed. I have a right to feel confident, and yet I feel so unsure. Why? And on that side, I see someone who is inferior in numbers, who does not look like having the strength, and yet that fellow stands firmly, and here I am, shaking and trembling. I have no right to be thus confused and fidgety. I must be okay. And if I am not feeling okay, then I must at least display that I am okay. And you will want to display to everybody and yourself that you are okay. But your inner being will refuse to feel okay. You will parrot all your arguments to the mirror, but the one in the mirror would still stand confused and afraid. Now that's the moment. Either you could accept there is something fundamentally wrong with the position, or you could tell yourself, well, when I can logically defend my position, it simply means my position is all right. I have thought it through, and I can argue it out. Doesn't help. Are you whole within? Are you compact within? Or are you fragmented within? Can you look at dharma in the eye? Or is there a part of you that is actually very ashamed of itself? So ashamed, it cannot look at even mirror in the eye. This is our army. Defended by Bhishma. Yet very insufficient. And look at that army of theirs defended by Bhim that appears so sufficient. Now, between Bhim and Bhishma, apparently Bhishma is the more experienced and more renowned fighter. Plus, his weapon is technologically more advanced. In a one-to-one battle, Bhim would hardly be a match to Bhishma. Even in leadership skills, as the general of the army, as the commander of the army, Bhishma is arguably superior to Bhim. So the Kauravas have a great commander, great in both skill and experience. They have a larger army, and yet Duryodhan very clearly says here that all this appears quite insufficient, aparyapt. And that side, led by Bhim, appears quite sufficient, paryapt. Is this just a Freudian slip of tongue? Well, probably not. Duryodhan is, for once, being honest. Duryodhan is being honest in spite of himself. So he says, everything appears greater on our side, and yet the fact is it appears insufficient. As if even an infinity added to my side as if even an infinity added to my side would lose its charisma, its power, and turn into insufficiency. Just as anything multiplied by 0 gets reduced to 0. Just as it does not make much sense to increase the digits of a big number, increase the value of the digits of a big number, if the first digit itself is 0. Adharma, not being with the truth, is that first thing. If that first thing is 0, it does not matter what you have arranged after the 0. Or does it? Now that leaves the adharmic one, the opposer of righteousness, in a strange situation. He will even feel victimized. He will say, look, I did so much. Look, I did so much. And yet I am being declared inferior. I have been called a loser. Look, I did so much. He'll say, look at my accomplishments. Look at my score sheet. It reads 0999. 27 units is my output 27 units is the measure of my performance and my worth. And look at that other side. Their score, their worth reads 1000. How much have they done? Just one. Here I am with 27 units under my belt, and that side has just 1 unit. They did practically nothing. And yet I am being told they are greater than me. Some mad judge came and declared 1000 is greater than 999. Now I don't buy that. It takes a lot of effort to arrange a 9 followed by another 9 followed by another 9. Do you understand how much it takes? I have done a lot. 27 units is my contribution. But sir, you forgot the one. And the rules of dharma are strange. You are justified in your place to say that you have done a lot. You have done a lot, but at the wrong place. So, you probably have a right to complain. You probably have a right to feel like a victim. You can grudge existence. You can even curse the gods. You can also allege foul play. Duryodhana's mother had actually cursed Krishna. And even to this day, people keep saying that Duryodhana couldn't have been defeated but for foul play. From where they are seeing, they are justified when they say all this. They are counting the total, 9 plus 9 plus 9. What they are forgetting is the place value. And that's what we all too forget. Somebody who appears to be doing far little will end up far greater because the little that he is doing is at the right place. And it takes a lot to do even a little at the right place. And it's far easier to do a lot at the wrong place. In a 4-digit number, managing a 1 at the highest place takes a lot more than arranging 9s at other places. Dharma, in some sense, is a continuous remembrance of place value. Do not just count the amount. See who the amount is dedicated to. The value of anything is relative to what the thing is dedicated to, where that thing stands and what that thing stands for. We get exemplifications at many places. So, when Krishna visits Hastinapur, he refuses to be hosted by Duryodhan. He says, I would rather prefer the modest hospitality of Vidur. It is not bigness that counts in itself. It is not quantity that matters. The place where that quantity is provides quality to that quantity. Quality. Place value. Duryodhan has all the nines. Deep within he realizes the Pandavas have won at the right place. Pandavas have won at the highest place. The name of that one is Krishna or Dharma or truth. And when you realize that, it's a very chilling feeling. It's the end. No argument holds good after that. You realize you have set up the entire circuit but forgotten to switch the power on. You've done everything except the one right and final thing that matters. You have been entrusted to deliver a medicine to somebody critically sick, and you travel a long distance to reach that person. And just as you approach his bed, you realize you have come all the way but forgotten the medicine. That kind of a feeling of finality, the chill of the end. A realization you have been both stupid and wronged. Now, given that our side is so insufficient, let's all try to protect Bhishma. Let's all be arranged in a way that defends Bhishma. Very strange. Bhishma is supposed to be the slayer in chief. The destroyer non-peril. And yet Duryodhana says, come on, let's all protect our destroyer. What's going on? What's going on? It's like imploring a lot of riflemen to guard your biggest tank. What are you so unsure of? He is not unsure of Bhishma. He is unsure of himself. He knows he does not deserve to win. That's what. He knows somewhere Bhishma will be killed, not because Bhishma is a lesser fighter, but because Bhishma is standing on the wrong side. So he will be killed. He also knows that very ordinary warriors on the Pandav side will emerge victorious. Not that everybody on the Pandav side was ordinary. But even the very ordinary ones on that side will emerge victorious. Not obviously because they are great fighters, but because they are on the right side. In an epiphanic moment, he realizes how stupid he would look to have had a great and resourceful army and the best of fighters arrayed in his favor, and yet that's a flash, that's a moment of extraordinary clarity that we all sometimes get. That sometimes happens, usually in very significant moments, and this is one significant moment. Do you see how on the Kaurav side Duryodhana is going bonkers? And something a little similar is going to happen to Arjun on the Pandav side. The two principal warriors are both getting very nervous. It happens. That's the outcome of a big movement like this one. This battle is supposed to be the biggest one in centuries. Practically every warrior worth the name from across the various kingdoms in North and Northwest India were assembled there. It was definitely a world war of its times. And in those moments, you do get such instances of fleeting clarity. Why does that happen? Because under the weight of such a heavy situation, your falsenesses crumble, and therefore clarity shines at least for a while. The situation is so demanding, so horrifying, so challenging, that all your pretense and shallow arguments and facades, they just yield, collapse, and you are left staring at the truth. And that's what is happening here with Duryodhana. Just that because the clarity is incidental and fleeting, therefore it is neither bright enough nor compelling enough. Duryodhana will manage to retain his darkness. In spite of having seen what he sees in these moments in the first chapter, he will still continue to fight as if he has seen nothing. The first chapter is in fact the difference between Duryodhana and Arjuna. Duryodhana is nervous, confused, bewildered, but he has no Krishna to go to. He goes to Drona. Drona is his teacher. Arjuna is bewildered, he too goes to Krishna. Krishna is his. And that makes all the difference. And all of this is happening in the first chapter itself. Had Duryodhana a Krishna to go to, who knows? Everything might have been different. But then these things can't just happen wishfully or incidentally. It was not without reason that Arjuna had a Krishna by his side. Arjuna had worked hard to deserve a Krishna, and Duryodhana had worked equally hard to lose Krishna. When the two of them had gone to Krishna to seek his favor, his support in their respective battle efforts, Arjuna had all the opportunity to ask for Krishna's resources, quantity 999. Arjuna refused all of that. Arjuna said, I want you. Mind you, Duryodhana had a right to feel victimized even then, because of the two, Duryodhana had apparently approached Krishna earlier. But legend has it in written that he chose to stand by Krishna's head side. Well, I'm big enough, and here I am standing right upon your head. And Arjuna preferred his leg side. So, as is natural, the sleeping man opens his eyes and he won't turn around to look at who is standing behind him. So he looks at Arjuna, who is standing at his legs, and says, yes, please tell me. Duryodhana intervenes. He says, I came first. Krishna says, but I saw him first. I will decide as per my experience. I saw him first. And Arjuna could have lost it all that moment. Arjun could have said, I want this, I want that. Krishna said, you'll have the first right to choose. But remember, you can choose either me or all my resources, including the Narayani army that is famous for not ever being defeated. It's an invincible army. Arjun says, I want one. And imagine Duryodhan thanking his stars at that moment. Duryodhan bursting an internal glee. Wow, such a fool this Arjun is. And I'll have all of Krishna's resources. And Krishna is saying, not only will he join Arjun alone, he has also said he will not pick up weapons. Now, of what use is such a Krishna? He won't have the army, he also won't have his weapons. What will I gain by keeping this kind of a man my side? That's where Duryodhan lost it. Gita does not mention that. But I suppose that moment when Duryodhan lost Krishna would have just flashed before the conch was blown. Duryodhana would have looked across to that side and said, not Drona. At this moment I needed a Krishna to talk to. And how fortunate is Arjun. I feel all over the place and I can see Arjun is equally scattered. But how fortunate is he? He has Krishna as his guide. As his charioteer. You see what is happening? The entire situation so replete with meaning. And Duryodhana says so much, nothing comes from Drona. And when Arjun speaks, Krishna responds with a Gita. Who defeated Duryodhana? The Pandavas? Arjun? No. Gita defeated Duryodhana. When Duryodhana is blabbering this way, could Drona narrate the Gita to him? Duryodhana would have for sure emerged the winner. He had the men and the material and the muscle on his side. Why would he lose the war? Man on man, the Kauravas were superior. Use your mind, your arguments, your intellect to further the truth. in service of the truth. Don't use all these little things to assess the truth or to oppose the truth. Give everything to finding out what is the highest for you. And once you find that out, stop assessing it. Start serving it. And that service has to be one-pointed. You cannot have 5 masters. So, Drona, let's defend Bhishma. And Bhishma is probably hearing all this. So, that powerful oldest Kuru, Bhishma, in order to cheer up Duryodhana, now sounded aloud a lion roar and blew his conch. That's what the oldest Kuru is being made to do. And by any kind of calculation, Bhishma is at least 80 at this moment. He could be 90 or 100, that's possible. But in no way is he anything less than 80. And this 80-year-old man finds himself responsible for cheering up an ill-tempered prince who desires the throne as a toy. Why? Because to this man, his woe was bigger than the truth. Just as to Duryodhana, his toy was bigger than the truth. A moment to reflect. What is to you bigger than the truth? We all have our personal preferences. To Karna, his loyalty, his allegiance was bigger than the truth. No? What is to you bigger than the truth? And you'll never say, to me, falseness is bigger than the truth. No. Was Bhishma fighting Arjun to defend falseness? Bhishma would not say that. Nor do we want to say that. Come on. Would Karna say that he is a defender of falseness? No. So do not see what you stand for. That becomes difficult to see because what you stand for is very intimate to you. And you are so close to it, so proximate to it, so identified with it, that the proximity blurs your vision. You won't be able to really see what you stand for. If this is just so near to my eyes, can I see what's written here? I won't. You lose sight of what you are too close to. Just be guided by a basic rule. If there is anything that makes you stand against a Krishna, that thing deserves to be called your personal falseness, whatsoever might be the name of that thing. And usually that thing carries a beautiful or a grand name. For Bhishma, the grand name was loyalty to the throne, and keeping his word. Woe. I will not go back on my word. Bhishma will not say he is defending falseness. He will say he is defending his word, and that's a noble thing to do. Irrespective of what you are defending, if it makes you stand against Krishna, just know that your lovely thing is just falseness. Falseness would not sustain if it were to openly declare its name. It always carries some lovable or honorable name. Duty, love, friendship, even dharma. So Bhishma blows the conch, and taking cue from Bhishma, conches and kettle drums and trumpets and horns blared forth from the entire Kaurav side. And the sound that was thus raised was tremendous. And after this, we have Arjun. So we will come to Arjun the next time. It behoves us rather to spend more time with the one of our kind, Duryodhan. Because once you come to Arjun, you come to Krishna. And with Krishna, you anyway have to stay for the entire length of the Gita. For a few days at least, let's stay with Duryodhan. And that might be actually very beneficial, because Duryodhan's condition is very similar to ours. I am fond of telling my audiences every time I am with the Gita, that see that you are Arjun. Please see that you are Arjun, and only if you see that you are Arjun will the Gita be beneficial to you. Why will Krishna come to you if you are not Arjun? But over the years, rather decades, experience has taught me that most people do not want to be Arjuns, most people do not even want to have a Krishna by their side. So then, it is the example, the metaphor of Duryodhan that is more applicable to most people. You are an Arjun only if you listen only to Krishna, right? But that's not how most people are. Most people spend their entire lives standing in active opposition to Krishna. So the few verses that we have narrating Duryodhan's condition are actually very beneficial, worth paying attention to. See what happens to you when you have a lot but not Krishna. Just a handful of verses, but very portentous. When there is no center, strength crumbles and becomes weakness. Krishna wields the chakra. That's the weapon of his choice, right? Now think of a chakra. What would a chakra be without a center? Would it hold? It falls apart. Can't visualize? Think of a bicycle wheel. Centerless. Would it be able to take any pressure? You press it and it's gone. Dharma is the center that holds everything together. That's why when you are in the truth, you are said to have wholeness. Wholeness does not mean having a lot. Wholeness does not mean having a whole lot of things. Wholeness comes from having a center. A little thing with a center gets crystallized. A huge thing without a center just crumbles and falls apart. A little thing crystallized becomes like a bullet. Is a bullet a big thing? No. But it's a solid thing. And a bullet will prevail over a lot of loose iron files. How much is a bullet? A few grams, right? And you can have a ton of loose iron files. You will not be able to win a war with that. Something consolidated, something crystallized, something held very tightly to its core will always prevail over something very big but very amorphous, very powdery, very loose. Dharma is like an internal adhesive. It keeps all parts of you together, whole, centered, one, undifferentiated, in sync. Dharma is a bit like the various organs of your body knowing how to operate in tandem. Dharma is like various musicians with their diverse instruments assembled in an orchestra. Various singers expressing themselves in a chorus. Dharma is that musicality, that harmony. Dharma is when the eyes sense food and the mouth secretes saliva. And the food enters your mouth and the food pipe and then the stomach are already preparing to receive the food. Everything operating in a sync. The parts not being at cross purposes. The parts not opposing each other. Dharma is an absence of internal conflict. internal conflict within a body. That body could be a human body, or that body could be the body of an assembled army. Dharma therefore means a lot of internal peace. No civil war within. Peace. What if the various organs start competing for blood? What would the poor heart do? No, they don't compete. The heart provides them with their needed quota, and all are okay. Who will win if one arm wrestles with the other? Please tell me. Who will win? For sure you will lose. Myth has characters with several heads and dozens of arms. Do you see what that represents? That represents the mind, that represents our internal state. Several heads, what does that mean? And several arms, what does that mean? Several possible options of action. The arm denotes action. So if a figure is shown with 16 arms, what does that mean? That's how we all are. Now, if these 16 arms are at odds with each other, think of your condition. If the various heads are clamoring with each other, one head says, I want to sleep. The other one says, no, but this is the Gita. How can you? Then there is a third one, as always, lost in its fantasies. Hello, did I just hear Gita? Who is she? And then the fourth one, scolding the first three. Would you chatterboxes all shut up, please? I am meditating. That's the human condition. That's Duryodhana. Can you see how deeply Duryodhana at this moment is missing Krishna, loving Krishna, worshipping Krishna? Do you see how in a moment Duryodhana would have wanted to give everything up just to have Krishna by his side? But then, you haven't paid the price, son, and it's too late for you now. He does say that the army that side is paryapt and the army this side is aparyapt, but he doesn't say why. What makes the army that side paryapt? He must be so envious of Arjun, no? Think. He would be saying, Arjun, you won. And you won before the first arrow was shot, the first conch was sounded. And it's so unfair. In a fair battle, probably I would have been a match to you, especially if it's mace versus mace. I would have brought you down, Arjun. But you won. And it's so unfair. Krishna makes you paryapt. And the absence of Krishna makes everything aparyapt. I have everything. I do not have that one. Mind you, Krishna does not refer here to a person. Krishna refers to dharma. You are fighting for a higher cause. And being human and being conscious, how do I deny the fact that I am fighting for a lower cause? You won, Arjun. And one voice from within Duryodhana would be saying, isn't it partial of Krishna to not have taught me? I carry the same blood, come from the same lineage. I'm not inferior at all. Why did you not bless me with your companionship? And that probably shows that you too are human, because you have human flaws. You are partial. So I'll fight you, because you are no God. You too are human. I'll declare you flawed and entitle myself to the fight. How do I fight absolute perfection? And if I have to fight, I have to declare the absolute as flawed. So Krishna, you are flawed. You are flawed because you didn't realize the great talent that Duryodhana is. And therefore Duryodhana will fight you down. This is the picture within Duryodhana. Not a pretty one, or is it? Never let yourself come to that place. Don't oppose the truth for so long and with such determination that one day it becomes impossible for you to retrace your steps. Going astray is one thing. We all do get diverted and distracted for a while. That is pardonable. But don't let violation of dharma become an addiction with you. Don't become a compulsive betrayer. The thing with truth is that it is within you as well. It will demonstrate to you that you have been in the wrong. And how will you defy your own insight? Nobody at this moment is pressurizing Duryodhan to accept his follies. It is his own insight that is maddening him. The truth can bring sanity to you. And the truth can turn you mad. Depends on your station. Don't be placed so unfavorably with respect to the truth that the only impact the truth is left to have upon you is that of insanity. If Krishna approaches Duryodhana at this moment, he won't fall at his feet, would he? He would turn even more insane. Now, who can treat Duryodhana? If you have brought yourself to a condition when even the truth is going to turn you insane, who will help you now? You will find you are continuously avoiding the truth. Avoiding. As if you are on a death wish. As if Duryodhana says, it's so late now that it's better that we all perish. As if Duryodhana or something within Duryodhana has it all planned out. He's saying, I'll get all these people wiped out, and then at last I too will perish. Because we cannot recover now. Since we cannot recover, death is preferable to a life of insanity. You don't bring yourself to that point where even the truth becomes incapable of recovering you. And that is possible. When it comes to the ego, even the truth is not omnipotent. The ego can place itself, after years of stubborn and sly opposition and resistance to the truth, in such a tricky position, in such an ineluctable position, that even the truth cannot help it. Don't be too sure of the truth. The truth is not omnipotent. You will not always be saved. The omnipotence of truth is contingent on your receptivity and your willingness to improve, to recover, to dissolve, to listen. Don't be too confident that whatever be your condition, there is the truth always present and available to redeem you. No, even the truth would fail to redeem you. There was this movie, I think Purab or Paschim, it's a Hindi movie. And there is this song, a poignant one, and a couple of lines always fascinated me. They said, होगा मसीहा सामने तेरे फिर भी न तू बच पाएगा. Then how is it possible? The lyricist is saying, the Messiah, the prophet or the avatar will be right in front of you and yet you won't be saved. Then how is it possible? The Messiah is supposed to be the Redeemer. He is supposed to save everybody. And why is the poet saying that even the Messiah will fail in saving you? Having matured a bit, I think I now understand. It is possible for a person to bring himself to such a complex position that even the Messiah fails. As if these lines were written for Duryodhan. Krishna is right in front of him, and yet Duryodhan cannot be redeemed. And Krishna is no stranger. Krishna is a relative. Duryodhan has known Krishna since his childhood. In a physical way, Krishna has been almost by Duryodhan's side for long years. And yet all of that has finally come to this. Yes, questions?
Yes, this is a little bit of a situational question, but I've noticed that now that I'm here in India with a maybe more receptive, it's very much it's easier for me to stay centered, you know. But the thing I was struggling almost the whole last year in Finland was like oscillating between being totally fragmented and yet having these periods of like being centered. And it's what you said about going insane. It was the first time I realized how dangerous core spirituality can be to you if you're not serious with it, because it almost taught me like to the very limit. So, well, that's not the point, but maybe it's a good thing to keep in mind. But still, now that I'm going back there, I was just wondering that how can I kind of like take this, what is here, back there with me? Because it feels like that if I'm off center, then nothing makes sense. Like everything that I do is wrong. And then when there are those periods when things are clearer, then I don't really have to think about anything because things seem to happen as they should.
So probably this
Geeta.
in English has started for you. Between two sessions, just keep resolutely chewing each and every word, keeping this thing in center. Let thought travel in all directions. Think as much as possible. With this firmly at the center. Think, wonder, reflect. Go away as far as possible. Tethered to the center. This won't let you get scattered. This is just so full of meaning and there are just so many layers. You'll remain occupied, peeling things off. Obviously, that would mean peeling off your own layers within. There's nothing in your situation or mine or anybody else's that does not reflect here. The more I have been with the Gita, the more I see that it represents the sum total of all human condition. So whatever you are doing, irrespective of how the day has gone for you, you will find rest here and stimulation. And by the time you start going off center again, you'll find the next session has arrived. And we have 700 verses. So this isn't going away anytime soon. There will be gaps. Sometimes the gap will be long, 2 weeks. But those would be opportunities to let your insight, your thought go even deeper. Almost as a ritual, you will need to ask questions. It's easy to assume that one understands or that things are sorted. Keep that assumption at bay. Just as a matter of discipline, ritualistic discipline. Come forth with something to say, even if it's not a question. Something. In this age of technology, certain things have become easier. I look at this and this is almost as good as having somebody sitting physically in front of you. So we'll soon have 5G. So, I think it's pretty beautiful, and I'm looking at it quite impartially, objectively. It's pretty beautiful, this thing that we are doing here. And if one stays honestly connected to this, the result will be equally beautiful. Remember, 1 is greater than 9 plus 9 plus 9. So, your lifestyle, your workplace, your social circle, all these will have a lot of experiences pricked, needled into your psyche. A lot of things. A day entails numerous experiences, 9 plus 9 plus 9. But if you return to this one thing, after all the experiences you have had over the day, this one will prove bigger than 999. Not putting that as rhetoric, but as a lived truth that happens, actually happens. And obviously you will be flying in again, right? That too in a more opportune weather.
Yes.
Later in the year, by the time it's again getting a bit pleasant, colder. And for a longer duration. Yep. Yeah.
I still wouldn't want to leave now.
Are people not connected online? What?
Yes, sir, you have a question from Rashmi.
Yes.
Waiting for you. Rashdeep, you can go ahead with your question.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, thank you for organizing this session. So, talking about Bhagavad Gita is important. So, I was just reading about one American naturalist named Henry Thoreau. He says that every morning I bathe my intellect in the stupendous philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, in comparison with which our modern world and its literature seems trivial. So I think that Western world has acknowledged the importance of Bhagavad Gita a bit more than Indians have. I may be wrong on this, but that's one observation.
No, you are right. When something is just too close to you, you just somehow lose measure of its importance. Because the Gita happens to be a commonplace thing in India, a household name in India, therefore it is evident that it has ceased to mesmerize Indians. Familiarity, someone said, breeds contempt. So, yeah. If not contempt, then at least indifference. If you become familiar, too familiar to greatness, greatness ceases to dazzle. The West encounters the Gita with relatively fresh eyes. The West does not rush to worship the Gita. It says, wow, here we have a piece of text. Literature, let me look at it objectively, afresh. And when you look at Gita that way, that's when it reveals its riches to you. I've been lucky in that regard. I could play with the Gita because I was not introduced to the Gita in a traditional way. Nobody told me that you should go and take a bath before touching the Gita, or that you should sit or squat facing one particular direction if you are reading the Gita, or that you should not be lying in your bed while reading the Gita. I have done all of that. There have been nights when I have dozed off with the Gita lying on my chest. I have not read the Gita in any kind of structured or sequential way. I would just open the book randomly and allow the verses to captivate me. I've also not felt obliged to go by the conventional meanings of the verses. So it helps if you can look at the world or anything with unconditioned eyes. If you approach something with predetermined respect, you lose the thing. When you turn something into organized religion, you lose touch with its underlying beautiful philosophy. So, Gita became a small part of a huge religious complex for Indians. For the West, it didn't turn into religion, it remained philosophy. And that's why the West seems to be able to penetrate relatively deeper into the Gita. You named Thoru. There are several other examples. And we have more examples coming up every decade. India, that does not quite seem to be happening. See, the Gita is not tradition. You have been with the Hindi course as well. You very well know that the Gita is an active destroyer of convention, tradition, myth, belief, such things. And that aspect of the Gita has hardly ever been brought out. If you see what Arjun stands for, Krishna is representing an attitude that can very truthfully be called as very modern. No? And because modernity first came to the West, therefore the West is naturally more likely to resonate more closely with the Gita.
So, what I have observed that people here are afraid of condemning or saying anything against Gita, even if they don't feel right about it. Whereas in West, for example, Jean Paul Sartre, he started condemning that, not condemning, but he said that I didn't like the fact that Krishna was pushing Arjun to fight. Though he corrected himself later, but
Yes.
I was saying that
Critiquing.
Sartre didn't think that, yes.
Critiquing. He was critiquing.
Yes. So he was not afraid of critiquing.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
he had some kind of.
Yes. The same thing I found myself in the same situation. I recall that many a times. So I would pick up a particular verse and vividly remember one day father was on the dining table and I go rushing to him and I say, "Ye to koi baat nahi hui," and I was pointing at a particular verse. What is this written? What is Krishna saying here? Ye to koi baat nahi. Those were my words. Ye to koi baat nahi hui. So I was lucky. I could have that freedom to openly dissent against even Krishna. And had I not had the right to dissent, I would also not have the right to love. Both require freedom, no? There can be no dissent without freedom, and there can be no love without freedom. So Gita can be read only in freedom. When you make the Gita a part of your religious complex, when you turn it into an obligatory reading, then there is no freedom.
So talking about that from verse 1, I took two instances about that. I would like to share with this.
Yes.
So Dhritarashtra, the scripture starts with a blind man's question. I mean, that is rightfully a good thing because only a blind man should ask a question. A person who sees, I mean, he won't have any requirement to ask anything, and hence there will be no need of a scripture. Second thing is, Dhritarashtra was blind, and it is seen that his sons were all behaving blindly. It seems as if in Ishavasi we say fullness gives rise to fullness. The reverse of that is happening. Blindness gives rise to blindness. Only a blind man can reproduce 100 kalpas. I mean 100.
Kabir Sahib says, "Andha andhe tha liya."
Yes, yes. Then from verse 4.
And if you want to extend the whole thing a bit, when the very genesis of the battle was in those words of Draupadi that pointed at the same thing.
He said, "Andhe ka beta andha." She said, "Andhe ka beta andha."
And that's what exactly you are saying.
Yes.
So you take all of that together, and it's all quite full of symbolism and significance.
So, in verse 4, actually, when you see two parties fighting, suppose two parties are fighting, generally you will find that one party is, condemning the other, bad things about the other. But here we see a strange thing. Duryodhan is instead praising Pandava. That is a strange discrepancy which I found.
Because these are not two parties fighting each other. This is one party fighting the truth. Duryodhan wouldn't have been found in that kind of trembling condition were he facing the Pandavas sans Krishna. It is the presence of Krishna on that side that is making Duryodhan go so unhinged. The words are utterly loose.
So, I remember that even in chemical equations, even in science, we say that there are two chemicals, but there is the requirement of a catalyst. Catalyst here is Sri Krishna. Catalyst is not an active participant in the battle, in the reaction, but catalyst is something whose presence is mandatory for the reaction to happen. So, Sri Krishna is something like a catalyst like me.
You could say that. You could even say that Krishna is the very laboratory within which the reaction is taking place. A catalyst is just an enabler. Krishna here is more than an enabler. He is the very foundation on which all this is happening. But that's another level of description. What you have said is just all right.
And final thing, so if I ask you, or if I may ask you, can you name one person, one fighter who is the biggest fighter in Pandava? Who will that be?
Fighter in what sense? Skill, experience, what sense? Devotion?
Yes, if I ask who is the biggest fighter in Pandava group, then who would you name?
Arjun.
Yes. Now everybody will say like that. But if you look at verse number 4, Duryodhan takes the first name of Bhim, not Arjun. Duryodhan takes the first name of Bhim, but not Arjun.
That's because Bhim was leading the army from that side.
Okay.
Bhim is Bhishma's counterpart from the Pandav side.
Okay.
So that's the reason.
So what I thought is maybe because you need somebody like Bhim who can easily be bonded in a woman's in wife promise.
You could say that, or you could say that when it comes to a personal center, Duryodhan was not too likely to face Arjun in the battle. There were others who were going to take Arjun on, right? You would have Bhishma, you would have Drona, then Karna. These were the people who were going to match Arjun in archery. Duryodhan would have a personal duel with Bhim, and Duryodhan knew it was coming, and it indeed did come, right? So you could say that that's the reason Duryodhan is more likely to remember Bhim. See, it's like if you are an opening batsman. When you look at the 11 players on the other side, you are most likely to look first at their opening bowler, because he's the one you are going to face and dread, right? As an opening batsman, why would I think too much about, let's say their spinner? Opening batsmen hardly get to face spinners. So, but then I know that the pitch would be fresh and raw, and that tall opening bowler, he is going to have a good go at me. So if I am to talk of one face as representing the opposing team, I would name their opening bowler. So that kind of a thing. But here even that is probably not applicable. It's just that Bhim is leading the side.
Even Vedant also says that we look at our counterpart in the world. We always find out from the entire view, we always find which is my dual counterpart.
That's the nature of the ego. Yes.
Yes, that is being. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The next question is Sujay. Sujayji, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
The
You have to
sound
be a bit
is.
louder, Sujay.
My question is that throughout this conversation, Acharya, you were comparing
No.
Arjun and
The sound is unclear.
Can you, Sujayji, can you please remove your headphones and speak directly? That will be better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
My question is, throughout this conversation, you were comparing Arjun and Duryodhan and how Duryodhan was able to maintain his darkness. But I want to take a different path and want to compare Arjun with Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra, even after listening to Gita via Sanjay, is not able to lose his darkness. And by not able to losing his darkness, what I mean is he is not able to take the side of Krishna. So why is he so compelled to not take the side of Krishna even after getting this knowledge of Gita? Why was he not enlightened just like Arjun? Similarly, Acharya ji, we are getting this knowledge through you, but I feel that sometimes in life, we are also not able to keep this knowledge with us, and we still take this in the life that are not in favor of Krishna's knowledge. So why is this happening?
See, somebody comes and demonstrates a beautiful piece of merchandise to you, right? He even lets you experience that thing a little. But you won't be able to benefit from whatever he is offering if you are not prepared to pay the price. Arjun is being told to slaughter his kith and kin. That's the immensity of the price Arjun is paying. And therefore, only Arjun benefits from the Gita. Just because the Gita is demonstrated to you, you do not become entitled to take it home. You go to a car showroom. The fellow displays the best model to you, also allows you to have a test ride, answers all your queries. Does that mean you can drive the car home now? So that's what. The Gita is demonstrated to so many people. A little bit of test riding also happens, and it ends there. Because after that is the time for the check. Where is the check, sir? And the check was signed in red. No ordinary check. Fight, Arjun, fight. Does not matter who survives and who's slaughtered. So what you get depends on what you pay for, not what you like, not what is big. The world, life itself is a supermarket. Everything is available. But you will get what you pay for.
Thank you, Acharya ji. That was the question I had today.
Wonderful.
So we have another question from Khushbu ji. Khushbu ji, you can unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Yes. Pranam Acharya ji, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Acharya ji, first of all, it is an honor asking you this question and sitting here in front of you today.
Welcome.
And I have a question related to today's session, where you have mentioned that wholeness comes from having a center. But sometimes I feel that we do not know what is the right center basically, and we feel whole with the superficial things. Like in the morning, we'll feel that okay, I'm feeling very motivated, I'm feeling very good today, and by the afternoon, it will be over analyzing things in our mind, and then it just trembles. And by end of the day, I end up criticizing myself, and then thinking that I'm not going on the right. So how do we decide what is the right center, and how do we, it becomes so confusing sometimes.
You see, I could say the right center is Dharma or Krishna, but that remains largely figurative. So the more practical approach is one of negation. If things fall apart, if the center proves incapable of holding the mind together, then you should know that you are operating from a weak or false center. The center should be able to provide you integrity for very long, everlasting wholeness. The center should be so compelling, so beautiful, so indisputable, so inexorable, that you just cannot manage to defy it or overrule it or whatever. If you'll ask me, what is that center? Give me a name, a definition, an address or something. No. Just keep discarding your loose centers. Keep progressing, keep moving. Charaiveti. And that's the only way. Be good, become better. Life should be an unending journey in learning, in betterment, in dissolution, in reduction, in brilliance. That's what. Don't stop, and don't ask for easy endings and quick conclusions. Have the appetite, the stamina to run a lifelong marathon. Don't be lazy. Right? Wherever you are, that point can never be a final one. And if you have already reached a final point, what's the point living on? When your train reaches the destination, what do? What do? You unboard, you get out of it. So if you ever say you have reached the destination, I'll say, well, time to. Right? So it's all right being in the train. Be a journeyman, a journeywoman, continuously. What's the need to conclude? What's the need to say the end? I would be speaking on the Gita, I don't know, 6th time, 8th time, don't know. And I really love being better each passing time. No? Too demanding? If the heart does not get tired pumping blood to the brain, why must the mind get tired of traveling? Why else is blood being pumped to your brain? Think. If you are not required to think anymore, what's the point in having an active brain? Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Acharya-ji. That's it from me.
So those are all the online questions we had for today.
All right.